Yes! Yes! We made it to top 3 in PvP! Okay, I'm just gonna be honest right now, it wasn't actually that big of an achievement. Since the game's so early, you can pretty much easily get to top 10, to be fair. And overnight I pretty much dropped to top 15. So yeah, it kind of went downhill from there. But I thought I'd give a little bit of insight on the PvP on Blue Archive based on my experience. So starting things off, PvP is all autoplay like Azure Lane. There's no need to worry about pressing any buttons or skill timings because the game does it for you pretty much. And it pretty much means team comp is really important when it comes to climbing, and there's some students I want to mention which are really strong when it comes to early game release PvP. So starting things off, I just want to mention some rewards that you can earn when you participate in PvP. So as you know, you'll get 1000 credits for each win and 3 tokens for each defense win. Another thing you can generate is credits. The higher the rank, the more credits you'll gain per minute. This is like a really easy way to get a lot of credits and fast. Like overnight you can get like 40k credits just like that for doing nothing. And the next bonus here you get each day. So for example, if you're in top 10, you will get 35 gems and 110 tokens per day. Next, you'll have your season rewards. So these are gems you'll gain as you climb in ranking. For example, if I was to rank from 1500 to 1200, I'd gain 80 gems as a reward. And just like the previous one, this one you get gems for getting record rankings. I'm pretty sure you can only get this once because obviously it's a record. It's kind of a shame I couldn't beat first place to get first, but he was kind of like 8 or 7 levels ahead of me, so I couldn't really do much there. So make sure you try and level up as much as you can when you do PvP because level really does matter. So this button here, you can gain the credits that you generated, and the button below is where you claim your daily tokens. Here's where it shows your battle history, and this one you can change your defense team. So making a solid defense team isn't the most important thing to worry about when it comes to climbing, but it does help you maintain your rank. Later down the line you won't be able to see what students you're going up against, so you kind of have to like predict things. So a good tactic when you get down to this line is display your most suspectable students in your first slot, so that you can pretty much surprise your opponent with your other students in your defense team. So for example, I have Aru in my first slot. She's kind of common and easy to deal with, so they might build their squad around beating her. But the rest of my team has a mix of good defense and offense, like Sabuki has special defense, Haruna has special damage or mystic damage, and Iori has some really good penetration DPS. So a good mix of student damage is really recommended when you're in high ranking. So thankfully in low rank though, you can climb pretty easily because you're able to see what the enemy defense team is and you can pretty much just build around it. Also make sure you check the student defense and offense type. Here's an image of the damage chart translated, and I'll put a link in the description with all the students where you can check their defense and offense type, because typing is pretty important in PvP. It'll help you win a lot more. So I'm just going to give you some students that are great for PvP. This will be based on my experience in PvP so far, so some students might not be there. But some students won't be there because they're just, in my opinion, not good at all in PvP. Like Tsurugi, she's just way too slow to really do anything impactful in PvP, so I kind of like just don't put her on a list. But here's some students that I recommend bringing. So starting with strikers, in top tier I have some students I want to mention. First is Tsubaki. She is really strong and she does extremely well because of her EX skill of getting a taunt. And she's able to heal herself for a lot of HP when she's below a certain amount of HP, which is a really strong skill when it comes to PvP, especially with tanks as well. She also has special defense, which is really strong right now because of the small amount of mystic attack strikers we have, which is also the reason I have Haruna in top tier. She's able to counter this because of mystic DPS. I also want to mention Samira. She is a super strong DPS. She has some crazy DPS. She also has special armor, which is really good. Like, if she's able to get her skill off really early in the game, it's devastating. Like, just look at this video when I went against first place. I actually got deleted. Shun is also a really strong pick because of her normal skill. It allows you to gain 2 skill cost at the start of the battle, which of course increases through leveling. And this is such a strong skill which allows you to get so far ahead and just use skills before your opponent. So you just get a really good advantage. Another student that's really good is Shiroko. She's a nice pick because of her EX spell being so cheap. It only costs 2 skill points to activate, so it's really spammable basically. I'd also like to shout out Hifumi. She has some really cool tech which allows you to taunt the enemy. If you can get this off early, it can be really strong as you'll be taunting all the enemy away from your students. And a normal skill can be super useful because if she mocks the right student, she'll just reduce their attack to pretty much nothing. And now for specials, starting with Karen. She does a crap ton of damage in single target. A lot of these times she's just able to one-shot students when you're able to activate her skill. She also gives decent attack buffs and does consistent damage as well with her skill. Hibiki is also really strong here, especially if you're lacking AoE damage. Even a normal skill has AoE damage in it, which is super strong in PvP. Fuka is also a really strong pick here. The only reason I put in A tier is because sometimes the auto will pick her skill first when you're pretty much like 90% HP, which is like really annoying because sometimes it can lose you the game, especially because the skill cost is so high. It's the same with Seiya as well. She's like super strong in PvP, but her skill cost is really high, so you need to try and get her skill out early somehow. I also want to mention Hane. She's a great single target healer and a team buffer. And these two here are really good picks if you don't have any DPS support, especially her since she has a really good AoE stun. Also, here's just a quick example of team comps you can use. Just make sure you always change to gain advantage of the enemy squad though, since every battle can be different, but a lot of the times you can get really good performance from each squad. So for example, let's just take the bottom one for example. This one's really good because Shun generates skill points for Kyoko's skill. Since it's so high, you would need to get a bit of an advantage to use her skill. So Shun's a really good spot for that. Also, it's the same story for the third one with Hina. Hina's skill is quite high, so you need to get something which is going to give you an advantage pretty much. And always try and get synergy and fill holes that you think you may be lacking in your team. Like for example, if you lack penetration damage, throw in some penetration students or penetration support in. So yeah, this is just a small introduction to PvP. I'm pretty sure the meta will change and tier list will change since the game's still really early. And I also want to mention now is probably the best time to get to top 10 because mainly because the game's so early and everyone's students are not fully developed. So don't be scared to use gems for refills because it's definitely worth it with all the gems you earn when you get to a decent rank. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and yeah, thanks for watching and good luck.